I need to start by quoting, "A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes." President Obama said about fake news that even him, when he was president, didn't realize how susceptible we had become to lies and conspiracy theories, despite having spent years being a target of disinformation myself. We are living in turbulent times. Manipulation has become a key tool in an all-out war against free democratic countries. Let me just clear that there is no place in the world, in this globe, called Kosovo and Metohija. It is Kosovo, Kosova, the Republic of Kosovo, the Republic of Kosova, but it would be the same as if I would now, every time I mention Serbia, start by calling it Kraljevina or some other names that I will not do. It is concerning to see what even experienced professionals are ready to believe, because they cannot or they do not double-check. They are too busy and often too superficial, just reading from stamped texts, not analyzing properly. What we have had to listen to here today are so many lies that it is sheer impossible to debunk each and every one in the short time we are here together. Most of you do have embassies in the Republic of Kosovo who confirm to you that not one single of Mr. Đurić's statements is true. Let me be clear. Do not trust a single point like such crazy lies that citizens of Kosovo would not have access to health care, to bank account, or to local services. The reality is, we have many Serb citizens in the northern municipalities of the Republic of Kosovo gladly telling us that they finally can breathe freely, without fear, and that they can, for example, get finally their children registered in the municipality after many years. You surely know what you would imagine that China, United States, Slovenia, or Japan, or Switzerland would accept any foreign personal documents for their own citizens issued by a foreign country in a local municipality on their own territory, let alone that this illegal Serbian ruled over territory and the illegal Serbian institutions to constitute a more than a decade-long blatant violation of the 2013 Brussels Agreement, just one among the many Serbia is violating for the whole time. Parallel illegal structures before would not just not issue the necessary papers, offer only illegal ones from Serbia. That was systematic, that was illegal, and it was a clear discrimination by a foreign power, and we liberated our citizens from that oppression. After we established the rule of law, finally, the cry falls and they lie about alleged discrimination. Look at this pamphlet from Serbia that I believe every one of the members of the Security Council has got in the last days. Here is what every one of these statements is simply wrong, because it treats Kosovo as being part of Serbia, what it is not. I use this occasion to showcase only one example, but there are many of them. It shall impress you by presenting an overview of, in reality, non-existing discrimination of citizens of Kosovo. One of these elements, not one single one, is true. They are all false. We establish something new, that is very precious for the citizens in the north, and that is normalcy. Fight against crime, the rule of law instead the rule of crime gangs sponsored by Belgrade. Normal municipal services instead of misuse of public funds. We just established what your established democratic countries are offering to their citizens. responsible and transparent public service. We will continue to protect our citizens and to widen the services they deserve and which they have missed for so many years. Not only the people in Kosovo are fed up with the continuous Serbian lies. For a reason, Vučić is losing influence among Serbian citizens of the Republic of Kosovo. If they do not believe the lies and the propaganda, no one should. But that is only one aspect. Madam President, we need to talk about a danger that some are afraid to mention. We need to talk even about war, how to prevent a next war in Europe, of which some say Putin could target the Balkans next. Putin's proxy Vučić is protecting the terrorists who led the paramilitary attack of Serbia against the Republic of Kosovo on September 24th last year. Their leader, Radojčić, one of the most brutal and richest people in Serbia, not rich by inheriting wealth from his parents, but by crime, was involved in escorting and even killings of Serbian citizens of Kosovo. Kosovo wants him extradited. He is responsible for the killing of our police officer and national hero, the Sergeant Afrim Bunjaku. This Mr. Đurić knows him well from his years as Vučić's right hand in his fight against Kosovo in the years 2013-2020. Đurić and Radojčić, the killer, were allies in suppressing decent Serbian citizens who just wanted to live a normal life. Đurić was in charge when Radojčić was involved in killing Kosovar Serb politician Oliver Ivanović. He was gunned down on the street in front of his office. Radojčić is the main suspect in his murder as well. And Đurić was meeting with him again, having a coffee recently in Belgrade with that criminal and terrorist. That shows the type of characters we are dealing with. Who else here is comfortable hanging out with a brutal killer? And because we started in showing photographs and not to leave any space for disinformation, so this is Radojčić, and this is the now Foreign Minister of Serbia, Marko Đurić. Serbia's attack on September 24th last year was planned as a military invasion and annexation of a peaceful country with thousands of NATO troops. To make it clear, that was the first attack of the Putin alliance against a country with NATO presence. It's a test for the West, a test for more. And Vučić and Putin are not giving up. Therefore, we need first deterrence, then dialogue, in that order. Only with credible deterrence, peace and security will be safe. Because when Vučić, Đurić, and others in Serbia say dialogue, they don't mean it. They are not interested in dialogue. They are interested in destroying the independent Republic of Kosovo, even by force. Nobody must be fooled. They have proven it, and they will try again. Therefore, Kosovo is thankful to NATO and our allies for increasing their troops in order to deter Serbia from a next aggression. The Defense Minister of Serbia, who prepared the paramilitary attack on Kosovo, for more than a year got a promotion by Vučić. He is the new Prime Minister of Serbia. EU President von der Leyen rejected to meet him these days because of his active connections with Russia. Vučić also promoted an old friend who is under sanctions by Western countries, but is the messenger between Putin and Vučić, some Mr. Vulin. He is explicitly anti-Western and pro-Russian. He was a close AD of Milosevic and laid flowers just some months ago at the grave of mass murderer Stalin before getting awarded by Putin personally. He is now the Deputy Prime Minister of Serbia. He is just on his trip to Belarus. Mr. Đurić, along with his successor Petković, was among the leaders of the violent attack against U.S. Embassy in Belgrade that set on fire by a violent mob. Now he is Foreign Minister of Serbia. That is the Serbia of 2024. We are not talking about the 90s. We are talking about 2024. And this is just a part of the dark picture. Do not believe these dangerous people a single word you cannot check for yourself. All these developments are most concerning. Vučić is preparing and ready for more. All across Serbia, not only murals of war criminals indented or convicted by UN tribunal can be seen. Also, gigantic murals are surfacing since many months, which announce the Serbian army will return to Kosovo. Such huge murals in such an autocratic country do not appear by chance. Ever more experts are warning that Serbia is resembling the fascist Serbia of the 90s. Serbia has become the biggest threat to peace in Europe, right behind Russia. Both Putin and Vučić have a dark legacy, a legacy of aggression and genocide. Both of them need to be stopped, ladies and gentlemen. The problem for Vučić's people is not any association. The real problem is our sheer existence. For them, the association is not at all a tool to ease the lives of citizens. It is just another option for trying to break away a part of our country. Like Putin with Ukraine, Vučić wants nothing short of the disappearance of the Republic of Kosovo. In 1999, he played an integral role in the genocide against our people. This man should never be president of the country. He should be on trial or in jail. He keeps promoting a racist ideology of Serb supremacy, similar to Russian supremacy. Serb nationalists want a so-called Serbian world, similar to the Russian world. All Serbs should live under Serbian rule. That's their public statement. The last time Serbia was going into that direction, it waged 4 wars with more than 100,000 people killed. Vučić's legacy of war and violence is a warning. Fascist ideologies are not folklore. They are dead serious in the very sense. In his core, Vučić has not changed. He is a man of violence since a young age, even of killing. In the days of the Srebrenica genocide, he threatened the international community. I quote, "We will kill 100 Muslims for every Serb killed." Another warning from history is appeasement is only feeding the beast, getting us closer to war. Vučić is only waiting for the next chance. If it would not be for NATO troops in Kosovo, Vučić and Putin would have tried an invasion for a second time within just 1 year. At the same time, Vučić blocks the EU-mediated dialogue that has broken down because of him. Vučić rejected to sign an EU proposal in Brussels. We were ready to sign it, as you all know. When the EU invited for a next round, he again rejected to sign, as you again well know. When the EU kept insisting the deal was valid without any signature, Vučić had his prime minister send a letter to the EU that Serbia is not accepting any of these deals. Still, the EU believes that appeasement and deals will help to tame the beast. It is encouraging Vučić to escalate. Putin and Vučić alike consider appeasement as a sign of weakness, like Hitler and Stalin did. Kosovo has become an example for many in the region as a successful democracy, because Kosovo is a successful story of a country that respects and contributes to the rules-based international order and gives people hope. Just last Saturday, the EU Commission President von der Leyen visited our country and stated publicly that our reform efforts are, I quote, outstanding. Meanwhile, Kosovo is even in Serbia viewed more positively than some of the countries that are sitting around this table. We are not only the youngest country with the youngest population in Europe, with the highest economic growth of 34 European countries, as the IMF reports. We are a democracy of which an extraordinary 81% of its citizens say to be living under the rule of law. A country with the most powerful protection for minorities in Europe, which, for example, 20 out of 120 seats guaranteed for minority MPs as members of government for the minorities, regardless of the outcome of the election. Such a level of minority rights is unique on this planet. There are more solid proofs against this propaganda. But just in April, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe voted overwhelmingly with more than 80% of the votes for the Republic of Kosovo as a member of the Council of Europe. The Assembly report states that Kosovo has done more than required to protect its minorities. Yes, we do, and we are proud of our achievements. Serbia had fired a cascade of lies and slurs during that debate. The response of 47 countries, members of the Council of Europe, could not have been clearer. 82% voted for Kosovo. It was just another defeat for Vučić. And you know how he did react? He blocked the next day thousands of travelers to Kosovo at the border for hours. That's how he is. And people know that type for a long time. So the real question to all that is, does anyone here truly believe that such a diverse group like the Assembly of 47 countries could have voted so overwhelmingly for our country if there were any truth in what Mr. Đurić and Mr. Vučić are trying to sell? The Council of Europe, NGOs, countless foreign government officials and members of parliaments, a lot of foreign media, our own free media, and last but not least, more than 1 million visitors each year, they all give a different account. So, there are more than only the word of my government that can prove what looks like propaganda, is presented like propaganda, is debunked as propaganda, surely is propaganda. In all frankness of the Special Representative of the Secretary General, the UNMIK reports are not that kind of propaganda like Serbia is putting it out. Of course not. Other reports have become so biased, so incomplete, and so pro-Serbia that they are already not a reliable source in any way. There are much more detailed, more factual, and more independent overusing reports from international organizations you can rely on, such as reports of the OSCE and the Council of Europe, for example. Let me close with some basic remarks and an invitation. We may be a small country, but we are a giant in human dignity, in human rights, in respect for everyone. We treat people with respect. That is our very tradition. As a young and modern democracy, we are proudly committed to the rule of law and to human rights. Serbia and Vučić committed genocide against Kosovo. Thanks to civilized countries in NATO that came to our rescue. We have suffered, but we had survived the worst nightmare, the genocide, and we came back stronger than before, committed to rebuild our country and to build our state, the Republic of Kosovo, a republic with rule of law, a true democracy for all of our citizens. We have achieved a lot in a record short period of time. We are humble, but we are proud of what we have achieved. Nobody can take that away from us ever again. We are on our journey to NATO and EU. We are the most Western country in the Western Balkans, for sure. We kindly invite you to see it with your own eyes. You might share an experience with so many visitors, being stunned by the vibrant and open atmosphere. Just see for yourself. Kosovo is really a great country. Thank you very much. So, dear Madam President, please allow me to repeat my invitation after this meeting to come and to see with your own eyes. We are dealing here with what this Security Council is all about. We are dealing with the biggest security risk in Europe after the war in Ukraine. So the resolve of the West will decide the fate of the Balkans, and I am convinced on that. About the dialogue between Serbia and Kosovo facilitated by the European Union, let me just repeat that our offer is open. We are ready to sign the documents that the European Union has proposed to sign. We are just waiting for the signature of Mr. Vučić, and that is not coming, but instead of that, he is just repeating every time that no obligations come for Serbia from these agreements is a bad sign. And yes, I really hope that 2025 we have a new start in this dialogue with a clear objective and with a clear strategy that enables us in a strategy of small steps when they are possible, so that we can overcome the blockage that is made by Serbia. The participation of the Serbs in the institutions of the Republic of Kosovo is a question that is very sensitive to us, because nobody expelled the Serbs from the institutions. Serbia asked them to leave the institutions. Serbia threatened those who didn't want to leave, and Serbia made it impossible for them to remain in the institutions of Kosovo, and so to be better integrated and to have a stronger voice when it is about their needs and when it is about their everyday lives and their families. So Serbs in Kosovo have started, and I believe they will continue to integrate more and more in the institutions. And the threats that are coming towards those who are already doing that from criminal structures and directly from Belgrade will not be able to stop those who want to live in a democratic and in a free Kosovo, in a country that will enable them to be faster citizens of the European Union that if they would be living in Serbia itself. I believe that the message has been understood by them. So not the threats of Vučić expressed in the last measures that they have taken, which have been criticized today and yesterday very strong by the European Union, but nothing will be able to stop them in trying to build a better future in the country of Kosovo, and there they have the full support of the government, but not only the government, but the institutions of the Republic of Kosovo. The Serbian citizens in the four municipalities in the northern part of Kosovo have said in November 2022 to UNDP that that only 17% of them do trust the Kosovo police that time. We speak on 2022. Today, we have not only doubled the trust of the citizens of our country in the four municipalities, but we are working on that so that trust can increase by every day. No complaints at all from citizens of those four municipalities against the central authorities. Private businesses who are already there bring services to all citizens, not only to some ethnic groups, and not a single property damaged by the Kosovo police. So I invite Serbia and I invite all those who are critical to the minority rights level in Kosovo. I invite especially Serbia to level up the rights of minorities in Serbia itself. We have already expressed over the time that we are ready to apply the principle of reciprocity in regard to minority rights with Serbia. So there I mean the rights of the Albanian minorities in Serbia who are facing discrimination and a kind of treatment that should not be allowed in countries who do express to want to join the European Union. So in the Preševa Valley, we are watching very carefully, and if Serbia means that the rights of Serbs in Kosovo are not respected, then we are really ready to apply reciprocity and to see which is the better example and which not. And by the way, Serbia and Russia were speaking of 83 attacks. Only Serbia and Russia were speaking of 83 attacks, and let me assure you that not one single of them is an interethnical attack. These are just ordinary crimes that the Kosovar police is trying to manage the proper way, like it needs to be done in every country where the law rules. I know that the Russian representative that left us doesn't like what I said. Just 4 weeks ago, he has been highly decorated here in New York during the UNGA by Alexander Vucic. And let me be very clear about what he said with persona non grata and all the things. Representatives of this aggressive Russian Federation, who had started a terrible war against Ukraine, to erase Ukraine with the aim to erase Ukraine as a country, are really not welcomed in the Republic of Kosovo. So we will continue watching very carefully who is there and looking very carefully if they present a threat for our national security, and then we will act with the instruments that a democratic and free state has in the disposition. By the Russian representative was mentioned the Kosovo Liberation Army, again being used to give the impression that only criminals are on Kosovar side, and on Russian and Serbian side we have this everywhere Mother Teresa's. Let me say something. Together with NATO, we defeated Milosevic, and together with NATO, we stopped genocide and the killing of thousands of civilians. A lot of brave, sincere boys and girls defending their own families and defending our country. I know that the Russian Federation, this Russian Federation, does not understand that because you deal with mercenaries, but in our case, we are very clear on that. So, I need to conclude with just a last sentence. In the document of the Serbian Academy of Science from 1986, you will find, and it is a fundamental document that served Milosevic for the 4 wars that he waged in former Yugoslavia. Mr. Zbogar will know what I mean. You will find this language that the Serbian representative has used today. 4 times you will find mentioning genocide of Albanians, 1986. Serbia was then ruling in Kosovo. You will find mentioning of genocide 4 times in this document. It's the same strategy, this is the same language as before, and I need again to ask you, please, double-check the information you are dealing with, because you are so present as international community in our country that you are able and you are capable to deal with information and to help us to combat the disinformation. Thank you very much.